And welcome everybody. Here we are, Sunday night. Favorite time, favorite place, favorite people. Bunch of strangers here to Global Strangeness, brought together by love of everything paranormal and weird. So this week we dumped it on Michael to bring us a topic. And I was really excited because I think we did a part one of this, and Jeremy, I think you said this was our second episode or something, so well over a year
Second
ago.
or third.
Yeah.
It was. We still had our original fourth member at that time. If I remember right.
Okay, so it's been a while, right? So we're talking about haunted objects, which is always so much fun. I think it's so interesting when you see on Facebook or whatever, you see people ordering up haunted items and unpacking them and stuff. I don't know who does that, and I don't know why you'd purposely order up something haunted, but kind of funny.
You can buy them on Amazon now.
I know, isn't it?
The same reason that freaking Scott wants to go and summon a freaking skunk ape in the Everglades with a Ouija board, because it's just a bad idea that he wants to do it.
I know, right? Anyways, so I guess that's actually something to consider. If you collect it at all, you can make a fortune selling it, because it seems like people are like into it too, buying this kind of danger. So anyways, so I found a few unusual ones, because last time I think we kind of covered Robert and all the usual suspects kind of thing. So I found that and maybe some of you guys are going more in depth with that stuff this time. I don't know, but I kind of picked stuff I hadn't heard too much about before. So, and then I have a personal story as a special treat. So the first one I came across, it's the picture, Jeremy, if you want to bring it up, of the exterior of the building. But this is the story of Thomas Busby. So he was a bad dude in 1702. And he was a counterfeiter and criminal and just degenerate. And he had a partner that was his father-in-law. And apparently he actually murdered the father-in-law, Daniel Audi. So anyways,
that was mine, bud. That one's mine.
Oh, yeah, that's a different. But anyways, this Busby character, he was arrested at a local inn and sentenced to death by hanging, which, was the way to go back then, I guess. That was good entertainment.
Is your picture up?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I just want to make sure it actually showed me changing it. Okay.
So apparently, anyways, according to the legend, he laid a curse on his favorite chair at this inn, saying that death would come soon to anyone who dared to sit in his seat. So apparently he had his favorite place at the local watering hole, and nobody should ever sit there, even after his death. So after his execution, his remains were hung in a gibbet, which I don't really know what a gibbet is. Like a little, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
Anyways, from a stoop at the Sand Hutton Crossroads, now the location of the Busby Stoop Inn, which is what we're looking at there. So the inn and the surrounding area are said to be haunted by his ghost, and one chair in particular, so his chair, he's still very jealous about it, has a really sinister reputation following a string of tragic events. Second World War airmen who sat in the chair were said to never return from their missions. And the chair is also linked to several road accidents and fatal illnesses. So, I mean, the airman, maybe they just got drunk and didn't return to work and took an easy out. But anyways, apparently there was like accidents and illnesses and whatever, kind of like Robert, like if you touch the chair, you get it. So in 1978, the inn's landlord removed the chair to the Thirsk Museum just a few miles down the road. And the chair is now suspended high above ground at the museum, so no one can ever sit in it and accidentally befall a curse. So what do you think? Would you sit down, have a drink, and say, screw you, I'm having my whiskey here. It's my favorite chair too.
I wouldn't test it.
Yeah, I mean, it might take a few whiskeys to get me in there to do that.
Right? I could see you going into there, and starting out being really respectful, and then by 1 o'clock in the morning, it seems like a better idea to attempt. What about you, Michael? Because you're skeptic. Would you sit in the chair? I mean, you can now. It's high, but if you
right. So Deborah, what do you think the mechanism is by way of perpetually cursing an object? How did this man, what were the powers, what are the supernatural forces that transformed his words into imminent doom for all people under this category for all time? How do you think that works?
See, and I was thinking about this too, because obviously I believe in the spirit world and everything. I think when it comes to haunted objects, it's residual energy and then a lot of added energy from people carrying the story forward. Like it's everybody's projecting this energy into it. And so then you manifest the things, that's what I believe.
So
What
like
about
a
you guys?
tulpa?
Well, there is residual energy. Like people go into haunted houses, you can feel the negative energy of if there's a murder there, it's not necessarily the ghost, but you're feeling the event, that sort of stagnant energy in the place. And then in these cases, like the legend kind of grows and grows and grows, and it just, when everybody there's a room full of people and they're all focusing and they're believing in one certain thing, it comes true, right?
So like a self-fulfilling prophecy of sorts?
That's what I think curses are. That's, yeah.
Like
I think there's
it's like what's it called?
birds.
Like it's what a golem is classified under. I forget what it's called. Not a totem, but what the hell's that word? Oh my god, I can't think of it. Something that people make. It's basically something people manifest into reality. Yes, yes. Thank you. I could not think of that for life of me for some reason.
What did you say? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear it.
Tulpa.
Yeah, tulpa.
Oh.
It's something that it's what people believe golems were back in medieval times. That it's something a Jewish person would be able to manifest and create from just their anger or their sadness or something like that.
Okay.
Interesting.
And there's been a lot there's been X-Files episodes about it. There's been Supernatural episodes about it. Like it's a very well-known thing in the paranormal community that tulpas are things we create because we put enough belief into it. Like it's been said like the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus can be tulpas.
Yeah, and I think there's so much to be said about focus, like especially group focus. It's really powerful. But then I guess the flip side is and maybe I'm not sure what I feel about this, but sometimes, really strong magical or people with strong abilities can trap a demon in a box or something like that. So where somebody's put the thing in, and I don't know about that. Like, what do you guys think about that? Because that's the other flip side of what it is. Is it an actual spirit stuck in a little thing?
I mean, do you mean a Dybbuk? Are you talking about like a Dybbuk box?
Yeah, but something like that. But there's a lot of those are just also lore and people believing in it. But then there's stories about where, say, a black witch or a witch of any sort can contain an entity. I don't know about that. That's going above my pay grade into this stuff.
Isn't that called marriage?
Yes, marriage. Oh my god.
So, Deborah, in your research, have you found tangible evidence that these curses are effective? I mean, we all know about the archaeologists who've gone into, Pharaoh's tombs, aware of a curse.
Mm-hmm.
How many of them died? They came from England, went to the tomb, half of them died. I mean, was it the curse? Was it, germs and viruses that their bodies were not accustomed to, that were present in the soil or in the tomb? I mean, what evidence do we have for these events?
Well, and that's the thing. It's all kind of up in the air, and I feel like it's probably a bit of all of it, right? There's this curse. People are a little bit scared to begin with, so they kind of have that energy going. And then there is mold or some sort of thing, and the person next to you gets violently sick, and that just adds to the fear and the validity of it all. Like, I think it all just spirals on top of each other. It's probably all of it.
They probably did that back in the day too, right? Like if they knew that you could get sick off of something, they would tell you like this object's cursed or whatever to make it seem like they had magical powers.
Well, and think like the ego trip, right? Like, how fun is that to be like, whoever touches this, there's, and then people play into it. And the second anything happens, they're, nobody's talking about the good days where nothing happens, but the second one bad thing happens, everybody hears about it. And so it's all that focused energy again. So I don't know. Maybe we should curse something.
And see if it works.
Send it out, sell it on eBay or whatever and see if we get any feedback.
I like that idea. We'll sell it on eBay.
This is like field research.
Well, my wife and I have this debate all the time. She believes in karma. I personally believe that karma is a poor man's revenge fantasy. So this kind of seems like karma, right? Anyone who violates this rule, now you're cursed by me for all eternity. Is that karma? I don't know. Is it the same thing? So what I was thinking about when I proposed this topic for today, are you familiar with a belief called animism?
Yes.
So the idea is that gods or spirits inhabit physical objects. And therefore those physical objects have a spiritual entity attached to them. So whenever I think of a haunted object, and I've sent a video, maybe we'll take a look at it, because I've got this black acrylic cougar in the house, and I think we mentioned this in the past. I walk past this thing every day 10 times, and like other things in your home that you just become used to, it kind of evaporates. You don't see it anymore. It doesn't draw your attention. It's just a decoration. I mean, if somebody were to ask you, tell me about all the paintings on your wall, you may not even remember what they are because after a while you stop paying attention. So I've got this acrylic cougar. Actually, it's a Black Panther. And I never pay attention to it except once in a while. Once in a while, I walk past this thing and it kind of like our eyes lock. It's very strange. I notice it and I'm looking at its eyes and its eyes look like they're following me. And the hair on the back of my neck stands up. So, when we talked to the demon folklorist on the show a few weeks back, she had this method of assessing the type of entity that you were dealing with. And it's really interesting because all of the attributes are physical attributes. It's physicality, right? It's a sound, it's a smell, it's a feeling, it's an image. So, if you look at her analysis of haunted things, if you will, this thing ticked off some of the boxes, right? I got a very weird feeling about it. The hair on the back of my neck stood up. It gave me like a visual cue. I was looking at its eyes because I was drawn to that. So what I did is I got out my SLS camera and I took a video. So what I wanted to assess is, is this objectively something that's going on? Am I making it up? What led me to believe that I wasn't making it up is, again, I walk past this thing every day and there's nothing, but only occasionally I react to it. So the question that I have as a skeptic is, why now? Why am I reacting now? Is it a chemical imbalance in my mind that's causing me to overreact to a stimuli that's not there?
You've been hanging out with Scott?
I got out the SLS camera because when I put the SLS camera on it, the SLS camera showed it picked something up. it picked up a ghost in the statue. So I'm not entirely discounting the idea that inanimate objects can be harbingers or harbors, safe harbors of some kind of energy. I don't think this is the idea for animism, but maybe it is. Somebody with a religious studies background could probably help us out here.
Do you feel like maybe, because it's kind of weird, sometimes it's like the spirit is trapped inside an object, but really spirits manipulate like, they catch your attention by manipulating things all the time. They flip on lights. Doesn't mean your light switch is, has an entity in it. So like they manipulate stuff. So maybe perhaps because you don't notice it all the time, maybe it's, it just does. There's a spirit that's hanging around your house, and that's how he catches your attention, draws your attention to that particular thing at that moment.
So that's why I thought this was not like animism, because the idea of animism seems to suggest that these spirits are permanently associated with objects like wood or whatnot, whereas this seems to be a fleeting thing. So maybe this entity, whatever it is, right, it just happens to get trapped in this object or use this object in my living space, and I become aware of that through, well, let's call it extrasensory perception, right? Because I think anytime the hair sends up on the back of your neck, it really is extrasensory perception. We don't really understand what sense is being activated, right? So let's just call it extrasensory perception. So this entity or this energy seems to float. And I don't know if you've had this experience where, you walk through your house all the time and it's dark. I know, Deborah, you're in Canada. The sun only shines there a few days a year. It's like Pittsburgh, where I grew up. So you're used to walking in a dark house, and I see you changed rooms. I liked the doors behind you in the past. It was much scarier. But so it's like, well, all of a sudden you're walking through this room, and now you're uncomfortable. You've been walking through this room all the time. Why now? Have you had that experience, Deborah?
I personally have. I'm sure Scott and Jeremy both say they have spirits in their house, right? So but my experience, spirits can come and go, like all kinds of entities and whatever. They come and go, right? So you will notice, and if there's a lower vibrational thing, you are going to notice it in a kind of negative way. But there's also, sometimes you'll smell your grandmother's perfume and it's a warm feeling. So that's a warm, like that's your grandmother or whatever. You can also experience high vibrational spirits, but they come and go. They're not like trapped in anything.
I want to know why you haven't given this thing to the Goodwill.
You what?
Well, Scott, you're a smart man. I think at the beginning of this show, you mentioned that people are selling shit on eBay because it's haunted. You get a premium for that crap.
There you go, dude.
I'm not going to give something away that I can sell for a premium because it's haunted. So everybody be on the lookout on eBay for a haunted Black Panther coming out of Florida. That'll be mine.
That's a good idea.
Is this a video? Can we see?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it ready to go. I was waiting for
Mike to be okay there. So this was right after the hair on the back of my neck stood up. Let's call that ESP. And look.
Oh.
All right. Wait a minute. I want to see if I can slow this down, maybe. No, we cannot. Yeah, apparently I can't do that. Okay. We do not have the technology. But
you can see the SLS is picking up something.
Movement, yeah. Wild.
It's like Running Man.
Yeah, it's weird. And it's fleeting, right? Like I said, it'll go months and I'll not even notice this freaking thing unless I'm trying to vacuum around it. And then all of a sudden I'll walk past it one day and I'll look at its eyes and the hair on the back of my neck stands up. And here we go with all of this again. So
yeah, it's creepy.
It's creepy. I know we talked about SLS and we acknowledge that it can do a lot of false positives. Particularly here, it has some physical resemblance to a person, right? The legs and the head. So is this a false positive? Am I making all this crap up? I don't know. I could be. But so
don't put that in your eBay listing.
Yes.
Don't second guess yourself.
It's haunted. $1,000 worth of hauntedness right there.
Well, I guess my next test has to be, guys, when I don't feel this thing, I need to take out SLS and see what it tells me, right?
Yeah, try it. Do some
That's
random. Have you done other random things in your house with that SLS?
No, but I was in. Where the hell was I? I was in this really creepy hotel in California, only since San Diego. It was a really old hotel. And I went into the basement. When I go to hotels for my other job, I try to find areas that are like off limits because that's where all the good stuff is. Mm-hmm. So I went down into this basement where they used to have a bank vault. Clearly, they're never taking away the bank vault doors because it's impossible to get them out of the building now. So they turned it into a conference room. So I walked into this conference room and I turned on the SLS. And this image of a ghost appeared right in front of me, standing on a chair. And it was really interesting because as I got closer to the chair, the ghost did not stop activating. It was very strange. So I do tend to use that device when I go to. I tried it on the cruise ship. No ghosts on the cruise ship. I don't know why. You would think one of these dumb, drunk college guys that jumps overboard and thinks he's going to swim home. I guess his ghost never becomes attached to the ship.
How much did you use that thing on your cruise?
Only a couple times. Once I wasn't getting any hits. I'm like, yeah.
It would be interesting to take it to like a really well known haunted, where there's a lot of activity that other teams have gone and done and see.
Yeah, this hotel was reputed to be haunted. I never really developed the rapport with the front desk to get them to let me into the forbidden areas. Mm-hmm. But it was very old and very creepy. And the week I was there, and I took pictures of this in an editorial effort to capture San Diego history. This homeless person somehow got his head run over by the garbage truck right in front of the hotel. And it was this big scene. And I can send you the pictures if you want to see it. But it was, there was energy there, right? There was bad, dark energy around this hotel. So I thought for sure I would find something, and I did.
Is that an app? I don't remember.
It is an app. It's the SLS app from Ghost Hunters.
Okay.
Oh, try that out.
And what kind of camera do you need to run it through?
It's running on my Android, Scott, my Android phone.
Okay. Yeah, I got Android too, so.
I don't think it'll work on Apples because Apples are for happy people. You need to have one of these cynical cell phones. All right?
Dang it, I got the wrong phone then.
Uh-oh.
If your cell phone is not cynical, the SLS is not going to work.
So what do you think? So what if you took that thing up to Robert, which apparently you'd be risking your life because he's very particular, or Annabelle, like something like an actual thing where everybody believes the spirit is like trapped inside there? Is that gonna pick up that like a mofo or
If I go up to who? I'm sorry.
like Robert the doll, like the famous, like, you know, or Annabelle, one of those famous
Oh yeah.
that, or the crying boy photo picture or whatever. But
I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you that I took it to. Have you ever been to? Obviously, you guys have been to many cemeteries doing ghost-related things. I was
No,
in the
never.
cemeteries. Never. Charleston, South Carolina. More cemeteries than you can shake a frickin' stick at. And they go on for miles. So I pulled over. I got out the SLS. And these things were popping up everywhere. They were jumping from the ground to the top of crypts and back down again. And as I would walk toward them, they would disappear and reappear at the next grave over. It was very strange. I can probably send that to you if you want to see it.
so how do you proclaim to be such a skeptic then? Because that's like, were you not, you know, is this not evidence to you?
Well, I'm a skeptic because I guess in a sense I want to believe, Deborah. I want, the idea that the world is only what we see and hear also cannot be true, right? Because we can only see a certain range of light, and scientifically we know that there are frequencies of light beyond on both sides of our ability to perceive. We know sound. We have a certain range of sound that we can hear, but scientifically we know that there are frequencies of sound below and above. So as a skeptic, I acknowledge that what I'm perceiving in the world is only part of what's actually there. And I also have to acknowledge that a lot of what I'm perceiving is kind of being assembled in the brain, right? We're assembling, it's almost like evolutionary. We assemble what we see and we hear to the benefit of our own survival. So there are many things that exist right in front of our eyes that evolutionarily we just ignore it because it's not relevant to our survival.
So you're sounding much more like a believer.
What I'm sounding like is somebody who acknowledges possibilities.
Yeah, you're just one of those guys that wants proof, like proof after proof after proof.
Well, I don't necessarily want proof because, like I said, if the supernatural realm, although I'm going to hold you to the fact that you weren't able to answer my question last week, but if the supernatural realm exists beyond the parameters of our normal senses, then maybe when a ghost or an entity or an energy kind of falls out of its natural range and into our range, that's when we get the hair on the back of our neck standing up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But last week, I asked you a very good question, and you weren't able to answer, Deborah.
Goddamn shifty Canadians.
He's like, why am I in the hot seat? Okay.
Because you did remote viewing. You're the only one on the call that I know that has done remote viewing.
Yes. So
if we agree that astral projection is the voluntary soul leaving the body, it's a journey, right? Do we agree that that's what astral projection is?
Yes.
Okay, and we also agree that upon death, the soul leaves the body, correct?
Yes.
So why can't I, in the course of astral projection, see the world or the universe or whatever's on the other side of death? Are you telling me that when the soul leaves the body and the body's still alive, it goes to a different place as it does when the body dies?
I don't recall this conversation because I feel like you can see everything. I feel like you're seeing other dimensions, and that is where your soul is going.
Okay.
When you die, I don't
Yeah,
think
I asked you about
it's other dimensions. You're just without your body at that point. You're going all
So
over.
we need to get somebody on the show who
Vegas.
does astral projection,
Mm-hmm.
and they should be able to tell us what's on the other side of death, because they're going there willfully while alive.
Well, I can see. So I took the course with Lori Williams and Lynn Buchanan. So Lynn Buchanan he worked at Fort Meade and all that. I told you that whole story, and that's like they literally did this for the government. And now they teach courses, and Lori is one of his, like, he was her mentor or whatever, and they teach these courses together. So it'd be so cool. I should see if, I don't know if we could get them on, but it'd be super cool because they're like, 90%, like they get hired by, like I was saying, large companies, police, all kinds of, like, they're hired to do this because their success rate is so good. Like they are so good at it.
They probably have a fabulous billing rate.
So, sorry, say again?
They probably have an amazing billing rate.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, it would be awesome.
I'm the one guy in the world that can do remote viewing. That'll be $15K per hour, please.
Now we'll convince them our podcast is big.
Well, just to come talk about it, though, not to, but what was interesting to me is when you're doing it at first, it feels like you get a flash and you're like, no, that can't be, that just makes no sense. But it's so correct. Like it's so many things are hits, and it's like, oh, okay, there's something to this, because you can get kind of, hits and whatever. It was interesting to me, like how anybody, even without a lot of practice, like you naturally have this ability a bit. And then if you practice it, which I have not continued to do it all the time, so I'm not, I'm not up there, but it is fascinating. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting because.
And I'll tell you another thing we did. It was they had like this. It was just like a little party thing, and everybody on the Zoom. So I can't remember. There's about 30 people, but we did. Have you ever seen the whole mind bending the spoon with your mind?
Yes.
And every one of us got the spoon to bend. I'm telling you, it was cool.
Amazing.
It was cool.
Do you have the link for the show, Jeremy?
Yeah, that's a link for a show in the comments. If people want to share it out or watch it, that's where you can do it from.
Okay.
I mean, I would be really uncomfortable being on a Zoom call with all of those remote viewers, because I would imagine everybody's trying to guess what pants you're wearing.
Why? Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would love to hear if they can provide us, or maybe if we can find somebody that does astral projection, assuming that we believe that's real.
Well, Deborah does it, so I mean.
Or remote viewing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know an astral projectionist. I had him on my show like a year ago.
Really?
Vincent Field. He wrote a book called Astral Projection and Lucid Dreaming.
It's another thing you can take courses on and learn to do. We all do it while we sleep. Like you guys all do it too. And then you can do it as you're awake. But it's a weird feeling too. Like you snap back in your body the second you sort of become aware of it at first. So it takes practice. Like all these things, like anything, takes a lot of practice, but then it's evidential, you can do things to test yourself to make sure it's like you're not crazy.
Well, that's what I was thinking earlier when you were talking about what to believe when you're doing your remote viewing. I think and we all have this, right? It's intuition.
Mm-hmm.
But the challenge is trying to figure out what is actual intuition and what's just noise.
So you know what you do? You do little things. Like I do this all the time with scratch tickets. I will
scratch tickets?
Scratch,
like the lottery?
Yeah, but it's the scratch tickets. So and we did this sort of as so you view it and you see, you ask, use the pendulum and ask which, if there's a winner, and then you get shown where it is in the store, and then you go buy it. And I've never won big, but I'm telling you, I win all the time, like $5 or a free ticket or whatever.
Okay, so did you say you utilize a pendulum to help visualize?
I use you ask the yes/no. You say, the Shell station on 30th Ave, is there a winning lottery ticket there at 12 o'clock? And it gives you an answer, and it will say no sometimes. So then no, there's no ticket there. But then you ask a different one, and it'll say yes. You go there at that time, and you say, if it says yes, you say show me, and you get the visual. And I usually kind of see it, like I get a color, and I get sort of where on the counter it is. So in top right corner or something.
So Deborah, how is that different from a Ouija board?
It's not really. Ouija boards, people are so scared about them, but really it's just another communication tool. But it's because it's spelling everything out, letter by letter.
Yeah, but we can move the planchette to yes or no. So if I'm asking the Ouija board, does the Shell station on 30th Avenue have a winning card? How is that different from just...
It's not different. You can use it. You can use it. Some people think that, so it's all in how you set your intentions and how you're who you're communicating with, or if you're using your own intuition or higher self, you're setting and controlling with all the tools you use. So it's how you decide to do it. And then if you're
ready, skunk
at all, you say show me, and then you
I don't have a lottery here, so you guys should just
okay, but then go to a grocery store. I've done this lots too. If I know I have to go to a store that I don't normally go to, and I'm looking for a particular item because I'm testing myself, it doesn't matter. So I don't cheat or anything. I ask, show me the thing, and I, view where it is on the shelf, and then I see if I'm right or not. Like, you test yourself in kind of little evidential ways. And it just, the more...
Show me the Canadian bacon. Show me the Canadian bacon.
Just do it. Like, have fun with it. It's all fun, right? Just have a lot of fun with it.
So what does this pendulum device look like?
A pendulum? I have a few, but I literally have one right here. There's a pendulum right there.
Every time before she gets on, she's like, "Should I do this, guy?
Should I get sick right now?"
Yeah. No. Yeah. So I have a couple of them. The same with tarot cards. All of the things are just tools, and you set the intention. You set who you want to speak to. Like, you control everything.
Well,
I think we should use artificial intelligence to create our own Global Strangeness tarot card set. What do you think?
Don't give Scott ideas, please.
Scott, I'd like to see what Scott comes up with. Actually, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, it's just gonna be like you guys all got like knives in the head and shit. It wasn't good when I read your tarot.
It feels more and more like you're accurate every day, Scott.
Well, those witching rods, I know for a fact they do work. I was a pipe layer for 5 years, and we would use that to find services when there was it's a trip, dude. My foreman had told me about it. We tested out a whole house full of people, but if you get something metal and just like put it in the floor, and 2 pieces of bent copper pipe, like electrical wire, 12 gauge electrical wire, and just close your eyes and walk over something metal, it will cross. It's crazy.
No. How do you think it does that?
I have no idea what it does. I'm assuming it's some sort of magnetism or something.
Vibrational, yeah. It's frequencies. Everything's got frequencies, right?
Yeah, copper's not magnetic, right?
Hey, Michael, am I showing this cutie you just sent us, Michael, or no?
Yeah, that's some digital art that I did.
Am I showing this cute picture you just sent us?
Yeah, let's look at that. So I think we could create a whole set of tarot cards using artificial intelligence imagery. I think it'd be fun.
It's Deborah at 20.
Somebody else is going to have to program it, because every time I tell it what to do, it does not.
I'm pretty good at architecting the keywords.
Well, I have a few sets of tarot cards that, so we can make sure we're having art that have the main characters or whatever. I think we should do that. That'd be fun. We can have some merch.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun.
I think we can
get
tarot reading, or like
mass produce and sell them.
Scott can do the guidebook that goes along with the deck.
Yeah, that would be great. You're fucked. You're fucked. You're fucked.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So yeah.
I'm pretty sure you could probably get print on demand for that.
Yeah, see, there's all
I already got our guide.
Yeah.
I actually had this guy on my show. He sent me his book for free.
Nice. I have a few guidebooks too, yeah. Yeah, we should do this, you guys. That's fun. Okay, back to haunted objects though, I guess.
Well, maybe we could do a show. The next show could be on tarot cards. I'd love to talk about that.
Okay, I have a few sets of those, and Scott likes to do readings. So
I need to go on the street and interview random people or tarot card random people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Scott's like to random people. Do you want to know how you're going to die today?
No.
Call me now for your free tarot card psychic reading.
Okay, who's gonna bail out Scott? I don't think Tripp can afford it.
I actually this week I was doing my street interviews.
Yeah.
And I fucking interviewed the dude, and it was a dude and his wife, and he came back like right after, a couple minutes after I was done interviewing him, and he was like, "Hey, we have some subscribers on YouTube. At me when the video gets up." And I checked the dude's page out. He's got 1.1 million fucking subscribers.
Whoa.
Oh, nice.
I only got like 380, and this dude did an interview, so that was pretty cool.
Sweet.
You never know who you're going to meet in Utah with all the Mormon cults out there.
Yeah, no, he makes freeze-dried candy, trendy treats. Shout out! Thank you for doing the interview.
We will take free samples. Just saying.
Yeah.
But, so Scott, you can go next before you get too gone.
Are you done, Deborah?
Well, I had a couple, but we could just go around or whatever. I was going to share a personal story with a haunted object moving around a restaurant I used to work at.
I say we end with that. That's a good way to end it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, my first one's Old Nick. So pull up Old Nick 1. I labeled the actual photos this time.
You did. Doesn't mean it transfers over to my computer, as we say every time.
No, I labeled it on the photo.
Yes, you did, sir.
Yes, I did.
I thought the pictures already did that without you doing it, but okay.
Okay. So in the 1980s, the St. Mary's Church in Swansea, Wales, they were just looking to update their building, right? And a local architect offered to take the job, but the church ended up hiring an outside contractor. So in spite of the church, the local architect bought cottages right across the street from the church. And then he demolished them and built a straight row of red brick office buildings. And then, so right across from the church, right in the middle, lining up with the church, at the top floor, he had a 3-foot devil, this little guy, installed, just like staring down at the church. Can you go to photo 2?
Well, so what was his intent?
Just, this is the dude, right? The statue would become to be known as Old Nick. And he was quoted, like right after he built this building and had that put up there, he was quoted saying, "When your church is destroyed and burnt to the ground, my devil will remain laughing." So this dude was super pissed off they didn't hire him.
That's not a very nice guy.
He needs to go in the church.
So cut to World War II, and Swansea, Wales is just fucking bombarded by Nazi Germany. I mean, they fucking leveled 11,000 buildings in this place. And that included the church. However, right across the street, Old Nick sat up there watching the church, laughing down.
Whoa.
I mean, I don't know if the statue was cursed or whatever. The building eventually did get bulldozed in the 60s, and old Nick went up missing. So I don't know if you'd call that a cursed object, or it would have to be a cursed object, not a cursed place.
It's a cool story.
Yeah, I hope it's true. Am I doing another one, or is somebody else taking a turn?
I mean, I can take a turn if you want, I guess. I ain't got no damn picture, so y'all live. But I found this lovely list online, and I had to bring it up, because it's haunted objects in women's weird fiction from the 20s to the 50s.
No.
What? Haunted objects in fiction?
Why do I have visuals of pictures?
Women's weird fiction, if I heard.
In women's weird fiction it's supernatural stories from the 1920s and 1950s, using haunted household items to explore women's changing social roles.
Okay.
So, the first one is a saucepan.
This bitch couldn't cook.
It was published in the second Ghost book, and a young man taking up a furnished flat is persecuted by a malevolent saucepan. The moonlight streamed into the dark passage through the invisible open door, and with the moonlight came the distant sound of a bubbling and a boiling like water in a kettle or saucepan. And I mean, the saucepan is a symbol of domestic bliss and nurturing femininity, so it was inverted into a protagonist, and his valet experienced severe stomach pains when they eat or drink anything prepared in it. The little nail pan is essentially a witch's cauldron in disguise. So take that as what you will.
Was it ever bliss though? I mean, you're just cooking and slaving away for your family.
Oh, what happened? Oh, there he is.
Michael, I know he jumped off and now.
Yep. I crapped out.
I think he does. He does it every show for a second, I think. But the next object is a pair of scissors, which was in Young It was in Young Magic.
He's not the only one that has to piss every time.
Oh, but you don't. Yeah, but you just walk away. But the next object was a pair of scissors in Young Magic by Helen Simpson, and basically, sinister supernatural activity is focused on the sewing room in the protagonist's childhood home. It's this room where she is forced to sit quietly while her nurse uses the sewing machine, simmering with resentment at being prevented from playing in the garden, which she loves, collecting snails, or being free to scamper or play at being a valiant prince. And as a precursor to Matilda, the girl channels her frustration and imaginative power into a kind of telekinesis, causing a pair of scissors to twitch and move until they're standing upright but unsteadily, like a man walking a rope, and moving with timorous, jerky steps towards the hand that still held that wheel. When she returns to the sewing room as an adult, she tries to grasp the dark force that she inadvertently summoned. So, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, okay, well, okay, I was going to skip this one, but this one's just too funny to skip. A plate. Literally a plate. It was published in 1933, the Crown Derby plate. But it's about women having a dinner party in the 60s. They're all in their 60s, and they're having a dinner party, and one of them owns an antique shop full of a set of Crown Derby china, which she brought to auction years before that. But basically, story builds into the point where one of the women dies holding the plate. I don't know. That seems like a really stupid idea for a book. Like I can't explain the way they wrote this shit. I really can't. Okay, the rest of these all seem stupid. Ooh. They call those forbidden? Jesus Christ. Hey. Actually, all right, here we go. Here you go. This is for Deborah. Forbidden Desire. So.
Gee, thanks.
So the first object is a fur boa, which, I mean, A man is pursued by a fur boa might sound like a ridiculous premise for a horror story, but in Couching at the Door, published in 1933 as well, apparently the author delivers some genuinely creepy moments along with a satisfying satire of bohemian male vanity and sexual entitlement. But the fur boa once belonged to a woman casually dismissed as a common streetwalker, subjected to unspecified sexual and occult acts so extreme that the protagonist's sin has taken physical form to pursue him for eternity. The author's descriptions of the fur rope, which silently follows the protagonist at every turn, are surprisingly unsettling, bestowing uncanny life on the inanimate object, dark and shining as before, rippling with a gentle movement as it coiled itself neatly together, with only that tapering end a little raised, and as it were looking at him, only eyeless and featureless, it could not look. Despite the fact that the supernatural persecution, the protagonist offers no remorse and looks for a way to weasel out his fate, with horrifying results, apparently. So,
how do you explain that to your wife that thing's like floating along after you?
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know.
That's weird.
And apparently, and
that's why we need an HR, Jeremy. He's always wondering why we're talking about him and the Bigfoot porn.
Scott, I believe you bring that up more than I do. So, but apparently, there's also books about a telephone, a snuff box, whatever that is.
Oh, you've never had snuff? You smoke, don't you?
Not that kind of snuff box.
No, it was. We used to buy it when we were teenagers. It's like powdered nicotine that you snort.
Of course you did.
Like, don't you snort it? Oh,
no, that's it.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, they used to have little metal snuff boxes, and then you just like Coke. It's
tobacco.
Weird, yeah,
tobacco. Oh,
nicotine.
God. Well, okay. Well, Scott, since you know what it is, here we'll talk about the snuff box because it was a book called The Crystal Snuff Box by Marjorie Lawrence. In the story, which appeared in her collection, The Terraces of Night, in 1932, an antique snuff box turns out to be haunted by a sexy witch. Peter, the honorable but not especially bright owner of the snuff box, can't comprehend what the mysterious dark-haired woman pursuing him through his dreams and in waking visions could possibly want. Luckily, his smart fiancée, Isabel, understands she must engage her supernatural rival in a battle for her sweetheart's soul. As she struggles, the snuff box is imbued with all the qualities of a confident older woman. Shades of white and red and cool and hot temperatures hinting at their respective innocence and sexual experience. For all her courage, the girl was shaking in every limb, her brow pearled with sweat under the waves of her shining fair hair, her hands cold and clammy with terror. In the firelight, the crystal box glimmered demurely in its accustomed place, the ruddy light reflected in its shining sides. I'm telling you, they wrote books so horrible back then.
All that stuff.
I know, but I watched all of your faces when he said sexy witch. They're like, okay.
I'm sure.
This isn't so bad.
I mean, who didn't want a sexy witch when they were teenagers? But damn you, Sabrina. But that's all I got for now. We'll go back to it later. I got another page that's better than that one. But I believe I know Michael has more pictures, and I believe Deborah does too. So which one of you wants to go?
Well, okay, so I can talk about there's the bed. Maybe I'll just go straight to the seems how we're talking about.
You want to go straight to bed, Deborah?
The picture of the bed.
Oh yeah, let's see it.
So this is the Great Bed of Ware, and essentially this bed is this is supposedly a haunted. The whole bed is haunted, and it does not want you sleeping in it. So it's obviously really ornate and decorated, and it's supposed to be so big that like it comfortably sleeps 4 couples. Like so, it's huge. It's like 4 couples. What it says.
Swingers, huh?
I guess. But apparently, he doesn't want anything, let alone 4 couples.
That's the bed that the Slovenians used.
Maybe that's why he's so angry. It's just like disgusted with people. It's like, stay the F out of me. Like, get away from me.
Tired of being sticky.
Anyways, if you believe the stories about it, it doesn't want you sleeping in it. It is there's a tale, and it's suggested. I don't know if it's true or not because it can confirm it, but the bed was made in the 15th century for King Edward IV by carpenter Jonas Fusbrook. And through the years, it found itself being passed down between the Inns of Wear, where commoners were able to sleep in it. So maybe that's why it went from royalty to like just any old, who knows, doing whatever, and it wasn't as pleasant. And they covered it in graffiti, and so I guess it didn't like that disrespect. And so it angered the ghost of Fusbrook, who's the designer of it, and he now attacks any commoner who sleeps in the bed that he made for noble blood only. So if you are a king, instead of the princess and the pea, you know, that whole like stick the pea, they could throw her in there, because if you're not haunted, then you are of noble blood. But if you get in there and you're not, you're going to have trouble. So what do you think of that? Would you sleep? Would you spend a night in the haunted bed?
Well, is it the same mattress?
I don't know, like gross. Like that's enough to give you nightmares.
Yeah.
It is.
Enough to give you something.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think? I don't know.
4 couples in one bed. That mattress has seen a lot of things it shouldn't see.
That bed's seen. It's got trauma. It's PSTD that poor bed has. That's why it's haunting everyone.
It seems like a story with an intent to keep commoners off the bed.
Right? Yeah, but doesn't it make you want to stay there just to, you know?
Just to piss somebody off, absolutely.
Right. Like, why? Like, snobbery. I can sleep in that bed. I'm good enough for you. I don't know.
I wonder if Shaq would fit.
That's a huge bed. Like, that's crazy, right? But
Shaq.
I want to sleep. I want to sleep in that. That bed's be perfect for me.
Well, she's all yours, and if you're of royal blood, you'll sleep peacefully.
Well, I am royal blood. We all know that. So come on now.
Yeah. Anyways, I thought that was funny. That's hilarious. That this bed is very fussy about who sleeps in it, and it's snobby. It's a snobby.
Yeah, I just wonder, you know, with a bed, if any object can be, I don't know, cursed or create issues, I think a bed would be a good one, right? Because you're laying there, you're in an altered state of consciousness, and there's this energy coming out of this mattress screwing with your mind.
Exactly. Like when you're sleeping, you're wide open. So of all the, like, to be laying right on the haunted thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a good night, Deborah, yes, then you are sleeping wide open. But
that's why you got to pass out and not fall asleep. Ghosts can't fuck with you.
What is that? Are you drinking Four Loko?
Yeah, right.
No,
that's
I'm
Red Bull.
drinking Keystone.
Oh, he's drinking hot garbage. He's drinking hot garbage. Okay.
I'm drinking rice water. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. But no, freaking. Have you not seen Scary Movie 2? Ghosts can fuck with you while you're sleeping.
Yeah, like he said, you're in an altered state. That's the easiest way. That's the easiest time for them to connect. You are open while you're sleeping.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So as an experiment, Michael,
yes,
tonight, you should take your cat statue to bed. Just tuck her in right in between you and your wife and see what happens.
Oh.
It'd be a good test.
Yeah.
Yes, it would.
Yeah, I maybe I'll try that. That's hilarious.
So that's it. On to you. What's your next one?
Well, got a couple here. I'm kind of interested in this. I'm kind of interested in this ring. Whoever brought that.
That's mine.
what was
We're
the
gonna
ring?
wait on that, or I can do it. Whatever. Like it's a big one, though.
Okay, so
All right.
Probably the best cursed object that's ever been made.
The best cursed object that's ever been made. Okay.
Hey, Michael, look at the screen. Look at the screen, Mike.
So here you go. Annabelle, cursed object, met or match.
She even actually looks scared in the photo a little bit. She's like,
That one's not the real Annabelle either, though. That's
no,
just
the real
Mike
Annabelle's like
Tyson.
a Raggedy Ann doll. I had it like that.
It's hey, look, it's some crap from the internet. It's just supposed to be fun.
That's good.
Are you able to play that Facebook reel that I sent? I don't know if you can do that on this.
Jeremy? Oh, there he is. So I went to a Palestine-Israel march yesterday. That was something.
Did you take your mic?
Yeah, I did. I wasn't gonna. My son was recording. I wasn't gonna have interview anybody there.
Okay.
But I got some video of them doing their stuff.
Okay. All right. So, is this object haunted? I was actually speaking to the object, which was a headstone at a graveyard, and it reacted to the SLS camera. I'm not sure this will work, but I'm not sure if you can you, are you able to turn on the audio on the reel?
Are you there? Simon. Are you there? Simon, can you stand up?
Look, he stood up.
Can you zoom in a little?
Simon. Are you there? Simon. Are you there? Simon. Are you there? Simon, can you stand?
So this is you? You did this?
Yes.
So did you just go to any old grave, or is Simon somebody that you knew, or tell me on that?
I should send you that photograph, right? Let me send the photograph of this grave. There's a reason I chose Simon. There is a reason I chose Simon. His grave is very different. His tombstone is very different from anything that you may have seen before. It's hand carved or hand cut, but not with the tools that you would expect. It almost looks like it's just kind of haphazardly done. And in that regard, it was very random, very disturbing. You know, we're used to seeing the idea of the here you go. We're kind of used to seeing tombstones that are mechanically carved, right? This one was not. This one was very strange. It almost looks like this was done in concrete. Jeremy, I'm sending this to you right now.
Right.
Should we get in the personalized tombstone business too? I'm just saying. We can do concrete tombs.
There you go. I don't know, Deborah. This may or may not freak you out, the look of this tombstone.
I love grave. I love wandering through
you got to be careful
graveyards.
because Canadians shake easily.
I don't think so at all. I sit in graveyards and I write. I find them really peaceful and I love. Oh, that's it. No, I like that.
1961, huh?
Yeah, very strange.
Yeah.
So, there he is, Simon Fullwood. So I just went up to Simon's grave and I said, Simon, are you there? Simon, stand up. And if you believe the SLS, Simon stood up. You can see it clear as day on the video.
That's really cool, actually. I would love to do, have you ever been to a graveyard and there's an unmarked grave? Like there's a, headstone, but you can't see it anymore. It's unkempt. And it's just kind of a marker. I would love, like, I'm always so like, who is this person? What is the story? There's like,
This graveyard is filled with those.
Yeah.
This is the first segregated cemetery in Pinellas County, and it goes back a very long time, and it's very unkempt. This is the weirdest freaking thing I've ever seen. I'm sorry the photograph sucks. From that regard,
that's what gave me pause. That's what gave me pause. When I was looking at what you said. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
I know, right?
That could be a hero card.
This is from Bunratty Castle in Ireland. I think that's in County Kerry. But if you look at this is a cursed object. It's like a choir boy stuffed on top of this antler thing. The arms are grossly disproportionate to the body. They come out from the body anatomically incorrectly. The whole thing is just, and look at the look of pain on the face of this thing. I mean, this is insane.
I mean, the Irish drink enough and they see some shit.
Yeah.
This is totally a cursed object. It has to be.
We should send Helena to that.
Oh yeah, let's send Helena over to
go
Bunratty.
over there. Yeah, do some research on it.
Yeah.
Is that like a shield? Oh, I'm not.
Yeah, it's a shield.
Okay,
It
yeah.
is.
But you're
You
right.
know
Why
what
is there such
coat of arms
anguish?
It's like a coat of arms in front of him. He's dressed like a choir boy. He's on top of this weird wooden antler thing.
Is that like a real? Is there like mythos, or is that a real clan, like the black and white color?
Well, this is from Bunratty Castle, which is a real legitimate castle in Ireland. And
Okay.
you can go there. You pay, like $50, and you can walk through the castle, and they have a show. I was invited to be part of the show, and they put me in the dungeon. And after I came out of the dungeon to preserve my life, I had to sing for the king. So I sang for the king. I forget what I sang. Something about my sunshine.
Can you sing it now?
No, I'm really not going to do that, Deborah.
I was gonna say,
If you would have come through on my question about
I was gonna say,
projection, I would have been
since he's a king.
for you.
Kinky, but I mean, Scott thinks he's a king in his own mind, so you can sing for him
I am a
technically.
king.
that last bed was made for Scott.
It actually looks pretty comfortable.
I'd sleep in there carefree.
Well, you're right. Why was it so anguished though? Like the stat that is
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't have anything else, guys. That was my nonsense for tonight. Thank you.
Well, speaking of nonsense, Scott, what you got?
Well, I got two more. What do we got? We got time for one?
Yeah, here you go.
Okay, so the Ring of Sylvanus.
The Ring of Sylvanus. Okay.
This is obviously the most important cursed object ever.
Okay.
1700 years ago, this ring was owned by a Roman man named Sylvanus. The ring was oversized, though, so it was probably made to wear like over top of a glove. And then it has the goddess Venus engraved into the sides with her picture there in the middle. And one day, Old Sylv man was at the bathhouse of Celtic healing, some temple thing, and a thief stole his ring. So as of now, it's believed that the man who stole the ring was named Cineas, and
Sure, it wasn't Bilbo.
he cursed the dude, right? And he fucking said that, like, whoever wears the ring, he made a prayer to Nodin, not Odin, but Nodin. And then later, the ring was discovered in 1785 in a farm field, and it was sold to a wealthy family by the name of Schutz. And this is like from that time period of the Romans to 1785. That's all we really know about where this ring was. So in the 1900s, an archaeologist by the name Mortimer Wheeler established that this ring was the cursed ring of Sylv. So he tracked it down to that farm family and back to the original Roman owner of it. But with the discovery of this ring, Wheeler asked his friend, a professor at Oxford University, to help him find out the history of this ring. And do you know who that friend was?
I believe he wrote Lord of the Rings. J.R.R. Tolkien.
J.R.R. Tolkien, buddy.
Whoa.
And the Lord of the Ring, well, the Hobbit, the part of the story with the ring, like that goes on to Lord of the Rings, Bilbo getting the ring from Schmeagol, that all comes from this ring.
Yep.
Wow.
As soon as you start telling the story, I was like, oh yeah, I know this story.
Greatest cursed object ever to be created.
That's a cool find.
Isn't that cool? Yeah.
There's not a lot of shit on YouTube about it either. I was surprised.
And to think it inspired, like, look what it's inspired, right? That whole series, like.
Yeah, I have no idea how the fuck I found this. I was just like, I don't remember our last episode, so I was like down in the bottom pages looking for shit to be cursed. And, like, I ran across this thing. So,
well, Scott, don't lie. You know you were Googling Sylvia's anus, looking for your usual, and then
got me.
And then this just came up, and you're like, "Oh, this is actually got unusual."
That looks cool. Do you see how the ring is like?
This is not the ring you're looking for.
Kind of like stop sign. I don't know what that would be. There's a lot of fucking signs.
Octagon.
There's more edges than 8, but yeah, I see what you mean. Like it's.
Yeah, I wonder how they made that.
All I want to know is if I put it on, will I be invisible?
I don't know. I couldn't even find out where it is now. So
they don't want you to. It's in the Vatican, Scott. Come on.
It's on eBay.
Better not be.
It's on eBay.
The whole team better own it.
That is cool.
Good one, Scott. Very cool.
Thank you.
Well, Scott, what's your other one, Scott? I know you got one more picture, so what's your other one?
This is like a local one. I tried to find one local. This is Kay's Cross. This is apparently only a half an hour away from my house.
And why aren't you there right now?
Well, I just found out about it tonight, dude. This dude apparently took a page out of the Book of Mormon, but the Facebook managers, they have the people who own the property, they will give you a tour of this fucking cross. I watched a bunch of people doing their ghost tours, Ghost Adventures. Is that a bigger paranormal show?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They did one at this place.
Ghost Adventures is Travel Channel. They're huge.
I don't know how much they charge, though. I didn't have time to go on and see how much they charge, but you can find it on Facebook.
Just jump the fence and do your own tour.
Yeah, maybe. It's 30 minutes away. We'll see. But apparently
they're Mormons. What are they going to do? Throw their lucky underwear at you?
Lock me up in their reach through the veil, Cage.
Next thing you know, Scott's being held hostage and has 12 wives. That's what you're doing.
That'd be torture.
This dude started a church, right? His name was Francis Herman Penovic. Came to Utah, same sort of church cult shit like the Mormons. But unlike Joseph Smith, he wasn't just a prophet. He was the second coming of Christ. And they called themselves the WKFL. Wisdom, knowledge, faith, and love. So this dude Francis would get himself about 100 followers, and then he'd eventually move to California. But before he did, he buried 3 of his wives under this fucking cross. And the story goes around here is that you've got the 3 wives, right? The middle one is buried standing up. And then apparently there was like a K underneath the cross, and somebody blew that up in the 90s, and it said blow up. So I don't know if they smashed it, said blew up. Police never found out who did it. I don't think they really gave a fuck. But yeah, there's ghost hunters, the ghost adventurers have done it. Everybody says it's haunted. I guess in the Ghost Adventurers show, they found a pile of hair and bones, and they buried it next to the thing. And
so what's the K for? Like one of the women's names, or?
It's Kaysville.
Oh, okay. Oh, K's Cross. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then
it almost looks like there's a K in the middle and a T to the right side, and then like an L or something on the other side. So I thought maybe it's, I don't know. I'm seeing things.
Yeah, I wonder if there's I don't remember their abbreviation, but I do see the T. Yeah, that wouldn't make sense either, though, because it's WKFL. Well, apparently a dude hung himself in one of those trees there in the background right next to that thing, too. So that's the only, proven this thing could be cursed. Somebody hung
Sounds like bullshit. Sounds like Mormon bullshit. And I just did a cult 101 bracket that was full of Mormon bullshit.
Yeah. You reach through the veil, you see things.
I don't know. I think plural marriages sounds like scary enough. You don't even need to reach through. Sounds pretty bad.
That was creepy.
That's why 3 of his wives were the biggest headache at the time.
Yeah.
Creepy, Scott.
That one that was buried upright, she must have been a real piece of work, I'll tell you.
Yeah. I think you need to do some field research there.
Yeah, it's only 30 minutes away from my house, apparently.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll see if I can get on there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We got a bunch of haunted cemeteries, too. Maybe I'll go to a haunted cemetery next week. Whose turn is it next week?
Yours, Scott.
No, I did the one before Michael.
No, I did.
I did the one before you.
Well, we sort of talked about doing a tarot card.
We could do tarot.
Okay, cool.
Come see Scott fail at tarot next week.
Fail? My ass. I'm going to do tarot right there in the cemetery. It'll be great.
Oh,
yeah.
Come. We're taking bets now to see how long Scott lasts in the cemetery before he gets taken underground. Hashtag Scott gets the axe.
That's a horrible hashtag.
Yeah, well, Deborah, you can give us an outro.
Okay, well, do you guys want to hear my personal story?
Oh, God, yes. I forgot all about that.
Let's take you out with something to have nightmares by. So this is true firsthand experience. So many moons ago, I was a waitress, a server in a Boston Pizza in Calgary. And anyone who's been in the service industry, it's very transient, people come, people go, but there's always those diehard cooks or dishwashers. There's always some staff that are like, they're lifers. They've worked their whole life there. So there was a cook there, And he was one of those guys, like his whole life, he didn't have family or whatever, but he, the restaurant was like literally his whole life. And everybody knew him, he's well loved. And anyways, he got sick and he passed away. And I was working there at the time. Like this is all happened. And anyways, he always wore, it wasn't a Western buckle, but like the big belt buckles like cowboys wear, but it was a different design. It was silver buckle. And he always wore that thing. Everybody teased him about it, whatever. It was his thing. And anyways, after he passed away, that buckle was at the restaurant and it would literally move the F around. And I'm kidding you not. I'm not the only one that noticed it. This would happen all the time. And crazy stuff would happen. Like in the lounge side, you always had to put the chairs up on the tables or whatever so that the cleaners could come in and clean the floors. And literally everybody would do that. And you step out and you come back and there's like certain tables with the chairs all down again right away. Like crazy stuff was happening all the time. And that buckle would move around the restaurant all the time. So many people saw it. It wasn't really scary. It was just him. Like we all knew who it was. But
when you say
so
it moved, what do you mean it moved? Do you
I mean, like it would be in the office and we'd put it in the office. Like the owner would put it in the office, lock it. And the next day we come to open or whoever comes to open and it's in the bar, like sitting on the bar. It would move around the actual building all the time.
He liked to booze it up, huh?
He loved to booze it up. He loved it. That's it. That's exactly it. It was his whole life. And yeah, he would, he'd get off shift and he would booze it up all the time. And yeah, it was always the lounge too, where the tables, like the chairs would come off a certain table or whatever. And it would be like the rest of the place, all the chairs were still up on the table, but a couple, like this one table, all the chairs would go down. And it would happen like so quickly, like you just get that all done, ready to go check on the other side, come back and the chairs are down around this one table. And some people were really freaked out. They didn't want to be in there, like some servers or whatever. And I don't know.
That would have been me. Deborah thinks it's all.
No, like you know who it is. And he wasn't a scary person. He was an angry person. But yeah, he was, I swear to God, that guy was still there. And he made it really well known. Probably still does to this day.
That'd be cool.
Wow, cool story.
Yeah, it was neat.
I worked at a haunted movie theater. I didn't like it. It's probably like those afraid server people you were talking about.
Yeah, Scott's the Shaggy of our group. He's like, he'd rather go eat and drink than sit there and deal with ghosts.
Says the guy that's like, no, I'd never go to a graveyard.
I know. I've been on location.
Hey! I've done
Bundy's house.
I've done unspeakable things in graveyards, but nothing ever happened. So
that's it. That's my firsthand story. But the belt, like the buckle, was a real thing. That's the thing that was moving around all the time, and it's 100% associated with him.
Was he like a native cowboy?
No, not at all. He's like
in the wild west of Canada.
Yeah, no, he wasn't a cowboy. He was, none of that. That's just how he dressed. Whatever, white guy, kind of overweight with a mullety kind of hairdo. It's just the way that was his style, but it was his thing.
Well, we're dedicating this episode to that dude.
Yeah, JP, this one's for you.
Jeremy's gonna shave a mullet next week.
I ain't not having no damn mullet. Shut your mouth.
So
I do need a buzz cut though, so I look like Scott. But
that's all right. Shave it once a week.
That could be a scary
hair
episode.
in the morning.
That could be a scary episode. We all do home haircuts on. Well, Scott, what are you gonna? Never mind.
A home haircut every week.
I was gonna say, Deborah, didn't we ever see that once with you?
I think 2 or 3
I do, but you
times
see that
now.
every freaking week, and it's always terrible. It's always scary.
Every one of our screenshots is
I
when
know.
Deborah tells us, "Oh, I don't want to be on camera."
Well, me and Michael are on the late side of life here, so Deborah, why don't you do the outro?
See you guys next week. That is all the fun we have for you this Sunday, but join us next Sunday and we will tell you your fortunes. Not.
Be warned.
$50 a piece.
Excellent show. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Do not believe Scott's Carney rules.